good evening, good morning, whatever it is with you. This is Connor, and this is my top 5 songwriters.
You said it all with blood and irony, and now I'm not what you think you want me to be.
Without further ado, we'll kick off with Billy Joe Armstrong, who is best known for being in the band Green Day. I first discovered Green Day when I was about 10-11 years old, and that was when I really started to discover what my music taste was, out with what I had grown up with, and you know, living with my parents, growing up hearing bands like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Deep Purple, Free, Thin Lizzy, Queen, all these, you know, bands that were my parents' music taste, and so Green Day was the first band that I found myself, and I remember hearing I bought the American Idiot album, which was the first album I'd ever bought. I bought it from HMV or somewhere like that. No, it wasn't HMV. It was, I want to say Woolworths. Remember Woolworths? Sidetrack. So yeah, so American Idiot, the album, I listened to that, and I loved the energy, I loved the aggression, but what I also loved was the fact that the songs on that album are melodically interesting. It's not just a punk band writing an album. It's so well thought and just really well written and melodic. The melodies are fantastic. And to add into that, the lyrics as well are fantastic. I don't think that there's another songwriter really like Billy Joe Armstrong. He truly has a real way with words and with phrasing, and how to best also use his voice to tell the story that he's trying to tell in his songs. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that you listen to the American Idiot album. If you wanted songs within that to really showcase what Billy Joe's all about, I reckon probably Give Me Novocaine from the American Idiot album. Obviously there's the song Time of Your Life by Green Day, which is probably their most widely known song. And I would also recommend that you hear the song 21 Guns. I think that those songs definitely show Billy as a songwriter within Green Day and what he's capable of. I would also recommend that if you want to hear something a bit more songwritery or more song focused, or song centric maybe, check out his album that he did with Norah Jones called Foreverly. That's lovely, and it's very folk, kind of folky bluesy country style idea, and it's really nice. Okay, so number 2, or well, not number 2, he's not number 2, the next one on my list is Alex Turner from Arctic Monkeys. So I have a bit of a funny relationship, well, I had a funny relationship with the Arctic Monkeys, as I initially told myself I didn't like them because people when I was at school told me to like them, and would be like, oh well, you should listen to them because they're better than what you're listening to. And I don't like people telling me what to like. I don't like people telling me what to do in general. So I kind of went the opposite from that and was like, no, don't like them, which is very stubborn of me and very close-minded, and you know, I realise that now. But yeah, so I really discovered how good the Arctic Monkeys are and how good the songwriter Alex Turner is about a year and a half ago, and I was literally just going, oh, you know, maybe I should give them another chance. I didn't really listen to them before and just let other people put me off them. It's amazing how people can do that, just put you off a band you've never heard them, or never really given them a listen to. I'd heard them. So I started to listen to them, and I worked my way right through their discography and realised that Alex Turner is a lyrical genius. That guy has a gift that not many have. His ability to write about things that everyone has written about, but make it completely unique to himself, and really evoke a lot of imagery within your mind's eye when he's describing these things in these songs. His voice is really, really suited to the storytelling aspect of their music, of his songwriting, and it's really, really captivating. So I would really recommend that if you go, oh, I'm going to listen to the Arctic Monkeys now, that you start from their first album and work your way up. But if I was to recommend you one album, I would say that their album Humbug, which is their third album, I believe, which was either produced or co-produced by Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, another fantastic songwriter. The next songwriter on my list is Chris Cornell from Soundgarden, AudioSlave and Temple of the Dog. He also had a lot of solo stuff which he did as well. I first heard Chris Cornell in AudioSlave, the song Cochise. I was maybe about 15 and I heard him singing and was instantly like, wow, who's this singer? You know, why haven't I heard him before? And instantly loved AudioSlave as well. I loved all the songs, I loved the riffs, the choruses. What a fantastic band. And Chris Cornell's songwriting style is so it's kind of like on the outside very, very rough and rock and roll, but when you read the lyrics you realise how sensitive he is and how quite tortured he was in his mind. I don't think he thought very much of himself, and I think that translates especially into a lot of his writing for Soundgarden. You know, writing lyrics like in is it Outshined, he writes, I'm feeling California but I'm looking California but I'm feeling Minnesota, which is a fantastic line. I'm looking California, so I'm looking great, but I'm feeling Minnesota, so I'm feeling, well, you think of Minnesota, you think of cold, so like he's not feeling particularly well, he's feeling bad about himself, which I think is a really unique way of, rather than saying I look great but I feel bad, he's like making you know, analogies that take a bit of knowledge as well, and you have to think, oh well, what does he mean by that? And I like when songwriters challenge the listener's almost knowledge base. I think that's cool, and I think, you know, how do you say things convincingly when other people have said them? And that's what I love about Chris Cornell, is that he never allowed himself to be boxed in by how you're supposed to say things, which I love. If I was to recommend you albums, I would recommend Super Unknown from Soundgarden. Definitely listen to the songs Black Hole Sun, Fell on Black Days. You know, they're fantastic songs. Also check out Rusty Cage. If you want to hear a song where Chris Cornell really, really excels as a vocalist, listen to the song Slaves and Bulldozers, I believe it's called, which is off of the album Bad Motorfinger. His vocals are just insane. With regards to his solo stuff, the album Euphoria Morning is definitely like up there with my favourite albums, definitely. And the song Preaching the End of the World is it's a lovely song, and it's really, really sweet. And the next songwriter on my list is the boss, Bruce Springsteen. I grew up with Bruce Springsteen. My parents are both massive fans of him. I had the pleasure of seeing him at Hampden in Glasgow. I want to say it was like 2015 or something like that. 4 hours, and he's on there, and it's just fantastic. Every song is amazing. The show is amazing. Yeah, so the reason I love Bruce Springsteen is that he is the ultimate storytelling songwriter. His ability to put himself in the shoes of people who are going through hardship, you know, they're working terrible jobs for terrible pay, or they went through some horrible tragedy, Bruce Springsteen has the ability to put himself into those shoes and tell their story as if it was his, and that's a really, really unique gift. Not many songwriters are able to do that, and his way of being able to tell these things and talk about these things, and for us to hear it and think that it's him, like you do. And I love, you know, I was watching, I think it was the Netflix special that he's got, which I really recommend you watch, and he talks about his songs, and he says that he's a fraud, he's never had to work hard labour, but it's all he's ever sang about. And I think that he's been quite harsh on himself, saying that he's a fraud, but I understand what he's saying, because he sings about these things, you know, that he got a job working construction for the Johnson Company and he didn't, but if he didn't tell you that, you wouldn't know, because he's amazing. So I would definitely recommend, in terms of albums, The River, Born to Run, Born in the USA. Songs, you know, Where Do You Begin? You've got songs like The River, Born to Run, Born in the USA. You know, there's a song like Stolen Car, you know, Thunder Road. He's amazing. I don't really think I can say too much about him, because you've just got to go away and listen. He's the boss. He's the boss. So, last but not least is Freddie Mercury from, well, you know, he's from Queen. I was going to put the whole of Queen, because I do love a lot of the songs that Brian May, Roger Taylor and John Deacon wrote, but I decided to go with Freddie Mercury because I looked at the list of songs that he'd written for them, and on first glance went, I prefer that list. So yeah, come on, you know, Bohemian Rhapsody, Love of My Life, You're My Best Friend, Princes of the Universe, Friends Will Be Friends. Listen to those songs that I just mentioned, and that's all you need to really, that's all the validation I need to give you for why he's my favourite songwriter in Queen, and why he's on this list. He brought theatre and drama into rock music in a way that no one else had and no one else ever has. His songs are some of the best songs ever written, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinions. There was a certain level of swagger with the way that those songs were written, and then in the way that they were performed in the studio, as if he was performing to, you know, the stage at, you know, at Wembley, as if he was performing to the stage, as if he was performing to the crowd. Conor, what are you doing? So yeah, I don't really know. His music was on such a grand scale, I can't really describe it in doing it justice. He was a fantastic singer, he had a fantastic voice, which allowed him to just be even more creative and even more expressive with his melody and with his songs. So yeah, check out, for albums, check out A Kind of Magic, and check out A Night at the Opera, and yeah, check out Freddie Mercury in general, check out Queen, which if you haven't, where have you been? So yeah, this has been my top 5 songwriters, and I'm Conor Gaffney, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and please don't get upset with me if this isn't your top 5, but there was a lot of people who weren't on this list. Yeah, thank you.